What's up, third graders? Today is Module 5, Lesson 12, or we are at 12/30ths of the way through our fraction lessons. Today we're going to specify the corresponding whole when presented with one equal part. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? Okay, so essentially what you guys are going to do is you're going to say the corresponding whole. You're going to say what the one whole is when you're presented or given one equal part. So if I say, here is 1/3 of the cake, what did the whole look like before I gave you 1/3 of the cake? So you're going to have to think about what is the whole just by looking at the unit fraction given to you. It's pretty fun. Just to remind you, for today's lesson, you're going to really have to be knowledgeable of your numerators and denominators. Remember, a denominator is how many equal parts our whole is divided up into. So if we had our 3/4 here, that means that our whole was divided up into 4 equal parts. And then our numerator tells us how many of those parts we're talking about. So on your notes, I'd like you guys to write A, and we're going to do some review for today's lesson. So we're going to view it again. So how many 1/3 does it take to make one whole? So on your notes, I want you guys to think about that. How many 1/3 do I need to make a whole? You can draw a picture to figure that out. You could write up your 1/3. You could do a number bond, anything to help you think about how many thirds make up a whole. Or if you just know, you can write it for A. So go ahead and write your answer. When you're ready, press pause and press play. Okay, so for me to figure it out, I was thinking of how many 1/3 do I need to make a whole? This was my biggest clue, my denominator. I needed 3 1/3 to make a whole. So a third plus a third plus a third equals 3/3, which is one whole. You could have also thought about it as your number bonds and thought that 3 1/3 make a whole. However you thought about it, but you should still get that same answer of 3 1/3 make a whole. Okay, let's look at our next one. For B, how many 1/4 make a whole? So again, we have our denominator, which gives us our clue of 4 parts that our whole was divided up into. And 1 out of 4 is what we're talking about. So what did our whole look like? Go ahead and figure that out. Press pause and press play. All right, so when I was thinking about this again, I just thought, how many 1/4 would I need to make a whole? And I knew that a fourth plus a fourth plus a fourth plus a fourth equals 4/4, which equals one whole. So I had 4 1/4 pieces equal a whole. My numerator matches my denominator, so I know that it's a whole. All right, now let's look at C. Does 8/8 make one whole? What do you guys think? Go ahead and figure that out. Press pause and press play when you're done. Okay, so I would think, how many 8ths make a whole? Well, I already know my big clue here is that these match. So that means that I have 8 out of 8 pieces. That means my whole was cut up into 8 pieces. I have 8 of those pieces. They match, so I probably have one whole. But let's go ahead and test that theory. So if I have 1/8 plus 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8 equal one whole. Because I know that 1/8 means that I've cut my whole into 8 pieces. Okay, that was a great review. Let's get on with the lesson. Remember I said it's kind of more like a mystery. So it's like, if you have 1/2 of the cake, what did the cake look like before it was cut up into halves? So on your notes, go ahead and write letter D and draw this 1/2, and then our arrow is going to show us that we're going to change from 1/2 into drawing our one whole. So if this is 1 out of 2 pieces, then together let's go ahead and draw 1/2 again to show us the piece that somebody gave us. And let's go ahead and draw another piece exactly the same attached to it. So another copy of 1/2. And I need 2 copies of 1/2 to make a whole because my denominator is 2. So I need 2 pieces that look just like this to make our one whole. So congratulations, you guys just found out what the whole looked like, and it's this beautiful orange rectangle right here, or on your paper, your graphite rectangle. All right, let's try another one. Go ahead and write E. And this time we have a triangle. So if this is 1/3 of our whole, what does our whole look like before we cut it up into pieces? Go ahead and try it, press pause, and press play when you're done. Okay, this is why I love the lesson, because I really do feel like a math detective. So I know that this is 1/3. I know from my denominator that my whole was cut up into 3 equal pieces, and this is one of those 3 pieces. I know that a unit fraction is a copy, so I need 3 copies of this triangle to make the whole. This is where it gets kind of fun too, because your whole might look a little bit different than somebody else's as long as you did the same amount of rectangles, or triangles, excuse me. Woo! All right, so I'm gonna have 1/3, 2/3, and they need to be attached because there are one whole. And then how about I draw another one here? So if I have 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3, because I put this one upside down, I have 3/3. Yours can look different than mine. Maybe you did 3 triangles attached to each other, or maybe you did them like 2 triangles here and then 1 down here. But however you did it, you should have had 3 1/3 triangles equals 1 whole. Yay. All right, go ahead and do F on your paper right now. So this trapezoid here is 1/2 of the whole. What does the whole look like? Go ahead and do it. Press pause and press play when you're done. Okay, so for your whole, all you needed to do was think there's 2 equal pieces that look just like this. So my whole is going to be 2 beautiful trapezoids put together. So if this is 1 out of 2 pieces, I'm going to make my other piece. And maybe you did yours differently, where you drew your half like this and then you attached your other half like that. Or maybe you put them looking kind of like a butterfly. Or maybe you even did a hexagon. All of these would be correct because these are 2 1/2 pieces put together. Even though we arranged them in a different manner, we still have the same amount. So good job, you guys. All right, here's G, and we're gonna add the extra step of adding our number bond at the end. So you're gonna do just what we did before, but then you're gonna draw a number bond to represent it. All right, so if this is 1/5, what does our whole look like? And draw a number bond to show us our 1 whole divided into fifths. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, the answer revealed. So you should have had 5 1/5 pieces put together, and then your number bond should have 1 whole with 5 1/5 pieces coming out of it to show how 1 whole decomposes down into 1/5 5 times. Here's your next problem. All right, this little skinny rectangle is 1/8 of our whole. So what did our whole look like before we cut it up? And then draw your number bond. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, revealing the answer. You should have done 8 copies of 1/8 to make a whole. And you should have divided your 1 whole into 8 1/8 pieces on your number bond. How did you guys do? Remember, if you're doing this and you're not getting the right answer, make sure that you're letting your teacher know the next day that you didn't quite get it. We can see that from your homework, but it's also good as a learner to be brave enough to let your teacher know that you weren't quite getting it, because your teacher wants to help you. That's what we're here for. We love you guys. We want you to be smart, okay? All right, so your last problem, final problem, you're gonna do the same thing again, but this time our square is 1/6. Go ahead and draw what the whole looked like and draw a number bond that represents that. All right, you guys, work hard. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, you guys.